Hi there. In this video, I'd like to show you how we can introduce variables in Scratch. So as you can see here, I just have a basic program started here of two dinosaurs, and you can see here is my two sprites. And what I've done is just taken this dinosaur, so I added a new one, and then just went to the costume tab, and then added this little bow just to make it look a little different than the other one. Okay, and now within each one, you'll see we have very similar coding. I did have it placed specifically, and you can see here, X is 180 and Y is -56. So you can see if I move her right here and I click, and you can see she's put in position and she'll go through this code. Same thing for this guy. So click on this sprite, and again, similar idea. Let's just move him right over here and click, and you can see it's playing its code. Perfect. And of course, since they both have the event of the green flag clicked, I can just click on this green flag and we have a series of events. Okay, pretty simple so far. What I wanted to do was introduce a variable, and I thought it would be a fun way to introducing a variable is using, so let's say for steps, like moving forward, rather than just saying, let's say under the motion blocks, moving 10 steps, moving 5 steps, 100 steps, doesn't really matter. I thought, well, let's introduce a variable and we decide how many steps it's going to be. So every time they move, it's going to be moving the same number of steps. So what I'm going to do is go to variable blocks right here. Make this a little bigger here. And what I'm going to do is make a variable. I'm going to call this steps. I can do this for all sprites or for this sprite only. I very rarely use this option. I like to keep it available for all the sprites. Even if I end up just still using it for one sprite, I like the option of keeping it for all of them. So I'm going to click OK. Great. So now you can see I have steps is right here. I have now some blocks here, set my variable to, and so on. And what I can do is change my variable to the actual variable itself, things like that. So let's do this. What I'm going to do is create a new event right here, green flag. And I can do this for either sprite. I can even do it for the backdrop. When green flag is clicked, I'm going to go back to my variable. I'm going to set my steps to, let's say, 10 to start. Okay, so that way when I will go to motion and I'm going to go to move, yes, I see that it's already 10 steps here, but you'll see why I'm introducing the variable in just a moment, because what I'm going to do is go back to my variable, grab steps, click and drag that in here. See how it highlights, drop it in. So that way, whatever I change my steps value here, it automatically changes here. So what I like to do is I'm going to right click, duplicate that. Okay, and I'm going to now drop it onto my other dinosaur. See if I hover over the second dinosaur. So if I click there, and I should see that code somewhere here. And maybe that didn't work, but that's okay. So same thing, I'm going to go to motion, move 10, take my variable, and steps. Perfect. Okay, so now let's test our code. So I'm going to click on the green flag, and they moved both 10 steps. Okay, perfect. And what you'll notice though is that our second dinosaur moved in the opposite, or sorry, in the positive X direction. So it's going to be like she's moving away from him. If we don't want that to happen, you will want to keep that in mind. So we want to maybe put in a negative value in. And we can talk about that in just a second. What I want to talk about for now, though, is let's go back to changing this so that I change my steps value and how it changes my outcome. So let me go back to my first dinosaur. This is because where I defined the steps. Let's say this time it's going to be 50. So I've changed it to 50. So it's automatically going to update now in both the program for this dinosaur and for this dinosaur. So that's the way it should be working. And that's why variables are so useful, because you can place them in so many different areas and just have to change a value for it in one spot to change it everywhere else. Okay, let's click the green flag. Okay, so as you saw, larger step was taken. Obviously, the dinosaur on the left taking a step, 50 steps going to the right direction, and same thing with the other one, 50 steps looks like moving backwards, but again, in that 50 direction. Okay, so that's the idea of variables here. Okay, let's deal with this one little piece where I may want to have the dinosaur actually moving in the direction forward. So it may seem forward, but you have to think about this in context of your x values. X being positive, I'd be continue moving to the right. So what I need to do is move it to the left. So therefore I need to have negative values. So you might be thinking, how can I do this? There's a little trick to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my second dinosaur and I'm going to go to the operators. So click on the operators. And what I'm going to do is sneak in this guy over here. So where is he? Oh, right here. So you see how you have the, it's kind of like blank plus blank and so on. Well, I'm going to take the blank minus blank. So I'm going to pop that guy in here. So the steps was pushed out because I go, well, where does step belong if it doesn't, if it belongs at all? What I'm going to do is put it here. So the reason being, because I have a blank minus step. So this is now automatically going to give me that negative X value is what I'm looking for. Let's see if this works. So click on the green flag. And there you go. So this time we have our second dinosaur moving in the negative X direction, which means to the left. And therefore it looks like it's coming closer to the other dinosaur as he moves in the positive direction with the X moving to the right. All right. So hopefully this is a great introduction to using variables. Play around with different variables. You can have as many variables as you want and see where it takes you.